We've finished up the round of 16 here in Leipzig, Germany, as we press forward with the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series Circuit. The round of 8 is ready to begin. We boil it down to the final 4 players before we get into tomorrow's festivities where we crown ourselves a champion. I'm Nathanius, joined by Todd and Wardy, 2 of my favorite people to play video games on the internet with, and they have a lot of things to say about our upcoming match, don't you, Todd?
Yeah, we do. It's going to be a fantastic one. Like, this feels like it could have been the grand finals here. Elazer against Neeb, like the only 2 guys last year to win a championship in the WCS Circuit. Pretty massive. I feel like whoever wins here, I want to say, is going to be a favorite to maybe take it all, but this whole bracket is just so stacked with, you know, guys like Showtime or True waiting in the next match for the semifinals that it's kind of hard to say that at this point, but I know one thing, this match is going to be amazing.
I mean, he's not wrong at all, right? I mean, it's going to be absolutely crazy to see just what these guys come up with, because Neeb has not looked super solid against Zerg lately at all. He's looked a little bit shaky here and there. I mean, he nearly dropped out to Zanster yesterday in Group Stage 3. We were watching that Game 3 as we were leaving the venue, and it was like, whoa, Neeb, hang in there, buddy. But, I mean, Elazer as well is one of those players who will throw crazy things out, and sometimes that's Neeb's weakness as well. So I think if there is someone to take Neeb down this event, it very well could be Elazer.
Yeah, I think this is, as you put it, it could be the grand finals, Todd. You have the 2 players that took the circuit championships last year, and the opponents that either one of them will be going up against, you talk about a Showtime or a True, neither one of those players were as scary as these 2 guys last year, so becomes a strong favorite moving forward. Who do we talk about first? Both of these guys are so good. I think it's easy to talk about Neeb, who took 3 championships, looked absolutely phenomenal, had that Kespa Cup victory that nobody will ever shut up about. He won Austin, he won Jönköping, he won Montreal.
Nobody should ever shut up about that. It's just...
Well,
like,
as Neeb's biggest fanboy,
thing.
You need to stop me.
Yeah.
I need to be contained. I can just talk about how great this guy is all day.
You literally cannot be contained.
Literally cannot be contained.
Exactly, yeah. No, but we've seen stylistically what these guys can do as well. Like, as much as aggression early on and stuff is possible, I feel like it will be more so from Elazer, in particular because we're playing on the new maps. Like, that's going to be, again, the big X factor going into this matchup there. A map like a Biogenesis, where rush distance is very short. If that were not to be vetoed, we could be seeing something crazy. I even heard that, you know, a few things about potential, you know, 2 gateway on ramps at depth rushes that are potential from Protosses and stuff on this map. So Neeb definitely one of those guys that you can expect to have practiced those maps, to have figured out good builds on them, and likewise, I think Elazer will be very refined in his build orders and how to play against Neeb here.
I think Elazer's got to be a little bit careful, though, because he dropped 2 maps to Nice earlier, and he was super confident going into that one, which is...
I agree on one hand, but he was not a standard Protoss, all right? Like,
maybe Neeb took
Nice
inspiration.
It's like
Nice made a Stargate, didn't use it, then made a Prism and 8-gate charge loss, all right? Like, this was not even a PVZ.
Next level PVZ.
It's like getting put versus one of those crazy NA players where what they do just makes absolutely no sense, and you lose because of that.
Historically, actually, Elazer, he struggled a little bit against like hard cheese here and there. Remember when he lost to Hitman that one time in WCS Europe? But the thing is, Neeb doesn't play like that at all. And Elazer thrives against the Protoss that play standard. Historically, it's one of his best matchups. Remember that one time he wished he got in Showtime at the Global Finals, got him and then beat him? Not too many people can say they've done that. Neeb does have a big winning record, though, against Elazer. He's 8-1 in series. That's pretty... I don't think too many people can say that they're 8-1 against Elazer.
Nothing to scoff at, to say the least, of course. I think a lot of people tuning in from the American region are really excited to see Neeb play, as he's done a great job of representing them and just being a damn good Protoss in general. We know the macro builds are really good out of him. He was... I would say he leans more towards that standard style lately, though. Right, Todd? Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, I think like both of them, to be honest, they play fairly standard, like to some extent, right? Elazer will rely a lot of the time on like stuff like Hydralisk and all that, and Neeb, you can expect, you know, Stargates and Adepts to be his go-to.
All right. Well, we are ready to bring the players out on stage. Anna Prosser Robinson, our 2 champions from last year. They're ready to come out, huh?
I know. We want this match, and also the players want this match, because if you remember, Neeb earlier in an interview said that he wanted to face Elazer.
Well, those are some bold words coming out of
Careful what
the
you wish
American.
for.
Yeah, I know. And we will see now whether that desire was to his benefit or not, because these two champions are about to face off. This is the kind of thing that fans love, our opportunity to see two champions face off and find out once and for all who will come out on top. So now it's time to welcome our players from the USA and from Poland in this PVZ. Welcome, Neeb and Elazer!
Elazer, such a cool guy. Been awesome to follow his growth, his progress. And Neeb, the guy who in his interview to start the tournament was like, you know what? When I won Jönköping, it wasn't that cool because I'd already won a big tournament. I already kind of felt good about it. And then he only felt, his statement about Montreal was, well, my practice in Korea had paid off. It wasn't even so much about winning another championship. He'd already known at that point he'd be going to the global finals. And for both players, because we've seen them in the global finals and they've been doing so over the last few years, you kind of expect to see them both there at the end of the year, but now it comes down to which one of them has the opportunity to secure that in the first circuit event of the year.
It's pretty crazy, actually, you know, like the fact that they meet so early, right? Being two players that have the full potential to go to the grand finals and then meet there, for them to meet now means like one of them is going to be stopped only in the top 8, which is a big deal. Like you want to get those extra points for the WCS circuits. You want to get an extra cash prize that they're all hunting as well, and that extra title. So whoever loses here, like, he's gonna have to make sure he delivers in the next upcoming tours on the WCS Circuit tournaments. But whoever wins here, like we said, is gonna be a favorite to do well. Even though Showtime, I get a good feeling, you know, that Showtime has a good chance to advance against True and then give one of them a hard time.
Final thoughts before we jump in, Morty?
I just think it's interesting. We're also going to be seeing the vectors of WCS NA Challenger and EU Challenger here because they both run their respective regions. So another cool little thing about them.
Yeah, kind of weird to say. It's a disappointment for either one of these players to finish in the round of 8, but here they are hitting each other. And it is time to find out which one of them will move on to the semifinals. It's time for Elazer versus Neeb.
Oh, baby, Rotterdam, we've got ourselves a clash of champions. Titans isn't even a big enough word to explain what we're seeing here on stage. The 3-time WCS champion, Neeb, dominating 2017, and the Valencia champion, Elazer, who is looking better than ever coming into this tournament.
I've got a massive smile on my face. I am so ready for our first quarterfinals of the day, especially for this quarterfinals. I think it's going to be such a good series. Both of them kind of wanted to play each other. It wasn't just Neeb who said he wanted Elazer. I met Elazer last night and he's like, my bracket is perfect. He's like, I'm gonna get Neeb. That's the way I want it. I want to play Neeb here. I'm excited, man. I'm really, really curious and almost cautious to make any predictions, but we'll see how this plays out as we have loaded into Neon Violet Square.
And in the bottom right here, our first player of this clash, it is Clash's Elazer.
And on the left top side of Neon Violet Square, we're looking in the main base of the American Protoss representing Ting. Give it up for Neeb. That's right, you hear these Neeb fans in the audience, Maynard?
We're a long way away from the sunny shores of freedom, but there are still so many fans, and of course he has fans. He is a 3-time champion, Rotterdam.
Yeah, he was the man of 2017, even though the global playoffs didn't really work out the way he wanted, obviously. He had a good start of that tournament. He took out the champion. Lady was the only one, obviously, to take out Rogue, but it wasn't enough. However, when it came to the circuit events, Neeb was the man. There is no other way to put it. He dropped maybe 1 or 2 series throughout the entirety of the year, especially that last one. I mean, in Jönköping, he was pretty dominant. In Austin, he was pretty dominant. But in Montreal, it felt nobody was even close to the level that Neeb was bringing to the show.
That's right, Neeb's just starting things out pretty regularly here with the fast expand off 1 gate. Having a look and seeing everything is pretty regular for Elazer as well. Elazer is the guy that will from time to time go for those Road Ravager all-ins, will try and bust Protoss, but so far not looking to be the case. Just regular Zerg play here to start things off, so a bit of like a gentleman's agreement, an in-game handshake if you will, saying that they're not afraid of the mid-game.
Not at all. With Elazer though, it's hard to predict how he's going to play in an entire best of 5, right? Because I see him as a macro-oriented Zerg, obviously, otherwise it's impossible to be as successful as he is. But at the same time, he will every now and then throw in a Knight as Queen. He will throw in a bust as well, like you said. Link flood's not really his thing. I rarely see him do such a thing, but other than that, almost everything is a possibility. And Neeb is also not necessarily like Showtime. Will we see Stargate openers? Yes, absolutely. We're going to see quite a few, as we see it over here on the first map. But Neeb is not afraid to also throw in a Twilight every now and then, and maybe try to catch his opponent off guard. Neeb is even somebody who still likes the Resonating Glaives into double Stargate and some Mass Phoenix play, which I'm personally a big fan of. So that makes this series just very, very fun to look forward to.
Yeah, when I think about Neeb's PvZ, I always think about a big ball of adepts, thinking about those 2 early game oracles ruling the sky, shaving off drones here and there, always finding an opening, never losing those oracles either. Neeb's just one of those players that doesn't really, on the surface, appear to have any kind of weakness. But of course, this is a big shade here.
Yeah, that's a risky one as well. I think he's going to take quite a bit of damage, but Elazer does not want to go off creep. A little bit risky though, and as big as a fan I am of Neeb, and normally how impressed I am with him, this tournament, I mean, he's already in the quarterfinals, so we're not going to sit here and say that he's out of shape. But I have felt that his play was a little reckless from time to time. He obviously dropped the series in the group stage as well against Lambo. He dropped a map in both series against Zandstar. And even earlier today against Hero Marine, he said he was very worried about that series, as Hero Marine apparently beats him quite often on the ladder. Neeb won, but I felt a couple games were very close, especially the last one, and even the game on Acid Plant, I think could have gone differently if some of the fights would have been controlled slightly better by Hero Marine. So Neeb has looked good so far, but far from untouchable.
Yeah, these European Zergs been giving him a rough time, and Elazer is one of the best, if not the best, from time to time at this point in the current standings of the meta. Lair on the way for Elazer in this first Oracle of Neeb coming on down. Sees those first couple queens and gets on out of there. As Elazer's rounding things out, no doubt, you know, that Hydra kind of play, he's been a big fan of it. This is regular standard macro.
Yeah, he likes his Hydra Bane timings for sure. Every now and then on a very small map, you see him go for a Hydra Ling of 51 drones, as a couple of the other Zergs like to do. Let's see if Neeb is going to be able to find an opening here with 2 Adepts and a couple of Oracles as well. He's not going to let that Adept Shade finish though, but perhaps these Oracles can find a couple of drones?
And they often do. Neeb finding 3 drone kills here, going for a 4th and then getting on out there. That's a lot of damage on that one Oracle, but it does survive. And this is Neeb we're talking about. Rarely will he be losing those Oracles. 3rd Nexus going down back at home, and there's that Twilight with the Robo facility, so maybe some Archon play.
Yep, I'm happy to see Neeb also just taking that usual 3rd base. He's not going to go for the pocket one. The pocket one is obviously safer and a lot easier to defend, but a lot less minerals to work with. And this gives us the idea that Neeb definitely wants to get some harassment done as well, with potentially a couple of Zealots here and there. We see the Hydralisk Den for Elazer, and I'm also still expecting a Baneling Nest, even though we haven't seen one yet. I think we're going to see one within 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think Banelings are almost just necessary against Protoss these days, because they will eventually have those charged up balls or these adept balls. And that liftoff is nice on the Queen, giving an opening for the Oracles to come in and get more drones. 6 in total this time. Once again, all surviving. Free damage for Neeb.
Very solid start so far by Neeb. I think better than what we saw earlier in the tournament of him. He's up in workers 5 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. Let me just tell you, that's a very sweet spot to be as a Protoss player. Normally, Zerg will overtake Protoss 4 minutes, 15 seconds into the game, and then it stays like that for a little while, and slowly but steady, Protoss will start catching up. They'll start harassing a little bit, but Neeb has actually done a very reasonable amount of damage so far, and all of his units are still alive.
And he's also reading Elazer's current build very well as well, identifying not a whole lot of Banelings or any Banelings are going to be on the field here, as Elazer's just been making Hydra and Ling. So he's going to charge lot and Storm.
Yeah, I think we're going to see
so strong.
I think we're going to see Dropalord play here out of Elazer. Since he still doesn't have Banelings, the only way you can make mass Hydra work is if you truly start dropping a bunch of Hydras in the main as well. We saw it earlier. We do see the Lurker Den already being thrown down, but I still think you need to do something other than just making Hydras and Lurkers. Otherwise, eventually, this Protoss army of Immortals, Archon, Storm, it's going to be too much to handle on the ground. I'm quite positive. So I almost feel that Elazer is putting himself in a position where he needs to do damage with drops.
Neeb did see the Lurker Den there, and once again, killing more drones.
Oh,
once again, the Oracles escape with their life with 1 hit point this time. That's 15 drone kills in this game so far. Neeb's pro count quite nice in that 3 base. He's looking at an incredibly solid start here for Neeb. Incredibly solid, almost flawless.
Well, I think it is flawless. I still think Neeb has lost no unit at all. I think his adepts are still alive. You can see it in the left top side. Neeb has killed 22 units, 23 at this point, and lost absolutely nothing. I mean, that is flawless, right? I haven't seen him be supply blocked either. I feel like his transitions are in time. Did he scout the lurker then?
He did,
Can we just, he scouted that as well. I mean, then I really don't know what else he could have done better. Yeah, damn.
Yeah, solid.
That's the right way to describe it, solid.
Yeah, he's got this game by the horns, Roddy. So far, so good. Neither player's really clashed with any armies just yet, but on paper, Neeb looking like he's got quite the edge right now. Just tagging the army there, seeing that Elazer is trying to knock down those rocks, getting himself as much opening as possible. Very smart for Zerg to do this. Opening up the map is always what a Zerg wants to do. And he's getting ready. He's pumping out tons of Hydras. Like, yes, the lack of a Baneling Nest and lack of gas being spent in Baneling does mean that he has more ability to make more Hydras, get more Lurkers, but it makes him a little vulnerable to high counts of not Stalkers rather, but Charge Lots and Immortals.
Yep, and Storm as well. How is he supposed to kill High Templars if he doesn't have any Banelings? It's going to be very hard to get close to them. Now, of course, the Lurkers are already making their way across the map, but Neeb has seen this, Neeb has stacked them, Neeb knows where they are. And in a straight-up fight, Elazer's army is a little bit bigger right now, but with Storm already out, 7 gateways as well. Look at Neeb, this is going to go for an aggressive warp in, maybe to buy a little bit of time, but at the same time, I don't think he respects this army of Elazer all that much. He's like, yeah, that's a pretty decent army, but I've got a bunch of Immortals, and I've got Storm as well, so if you really want to run towards my side of the map, I wish you good luck.
Neeb gets a tag on most of these Lurkers, not all of them though. Chargeless coming forward, but that's too many Hydras for Elazer. He's absolutely going to clean this up, taking very minimal damage here.
Yeah, that's well done by Elazer, leaving a couple of units behind. And this is an awkward choke point. Sometimes if you can get a bunch of Lurkers at the bottom of this ramp, but can Elazer get close enough against this many Immortals, this many Storms?
So many Storms, so many Immortals, and he's breaking through that Lurker line. 3 of them going down there. So many Storms left over still for Neeb at the end of that. So if Elazer overcommits, he would absolutely lose everything.
Elazer sees that arm and he's like, all right, I'm going to need something else. He throws down the Infestation Pit, he throws down the Spire as well. These kind of timings can absolutely work, but you need a clean early game. It needs to hit fast and really hard. And Neeb just did a really good job in picking up drones, picking up a few more units here and there. That he was ultra ready for this and he made it look easy, like this wasn't even a fight.
A couple of whiff storms there from Neeb, but it makes Elazer forced to move his unit back, and he actually has more storms where that came from. Elazer going for that gold base, and yeah, it looks like Broodlords are the plan here for Elazer. And Neeb's not afraid, and he's actually getting ready for it with a fleet beacon going back down.
Could it be just a couple of Mutalisk as well, something we see Nurture do quite often? I mean, we do see the Hive being started now, but maybe a few Mutas just to do a little bit of harassment damage, as Elazer is getting quite close. He's going to be able to burrow his Lurks in a decent position, but look at the amount of Immortals, look at the amount of Archons as well.
Oh, that's so much army supply here for the Protoss, and he's pushing forward. This contain, this attack from Elazer looks very, very dismal here. Gets rid of absolutely everything. He's over a couple of these Lurkers still on the outside though. He lost his Observer.
Ooh, he doesn't actually see it, and there's no energy on these Oracles either, but all these Immortals are still staying strong, even though they took a little bit of a damage, don't get me wrong, a couple of them are beat up, but is that enough for Elazer to just jump on top of them? He's actually gonna try, and he gets 3 Immortals very quickly, but I think that's all he's going to get for now. But that was still better than nothing.
Yeah, certainly is in the end there. His Oracle's running out of energy, really helping out Elazer there. Gold is in swing, Hive is about to finish. And I think we're going to be seeing a Great Aspire, probably even Digging Claws for the Lurkers be quite nice if he continues with that tech. Still producing Lurkers, so almost certainly going to get Digging Claws.
I think Neeb did a lot of things right in the early game, but I have to give some compliments to Elazer to how he's been handling that harass so far. There are always Lings, there's always Hydras in position as well to deal with these Zealots, and he really hasn't taken any economic damage at all from that War Prism. And that may look easy, but every Zerg knows how annoying that War Prism can be.
Absolutely. War Prisms have utility in the early game, mid game, and late game, Roddy. They are just good all game long. There's that Digging Claws and Great Aspire as expected here for Elazer.
I mean, the last minute or two definitely wasn't bad for Elazer, right? Especially after he picked off the Observer. He was able to not only get the Archons, but in the end he got 3 Immortals. And now Neeb is still building Immortals 11 minutes into the game. And Immortals are never bad against the ground army, but against the Great Aspire, that's where you kind of want to have some different units. And I feel like it's been a while since Neeb had a sneak peek into the main base of Elazer. Once again, the Observer was a little bit late to the party there, but he does save those High Templars.
He certainly certainly does. These Immortals start to fight here. Massive storms to the north. Battles in 2 places on the screen here. The Lings are coming forward, making things a little bit tough for these Immortals. The Archo's getting picked up as well. Elazer starting to really pressure this Nexus, Roddy.
Once again, the Observers got sniped. Elazer just keeps on sniping these Observers, and I think this time he's going to get another cancel on that potential 5th base of Neeb. And Neeb, once again, he needs the Observer. This time he's going to attack these Lurkers. So he does survive, and he's still looking good on army supply. But I do find it a problem that Neeb hasn't been in the main base of Elazer for the last 3, 4, 5 minutes. And also, Neeb has no idea about these additional bases. Doesn't know about the gold, doesn't know about 6 o'clock, doesn't even know about the hive. Elazer has played a very strong mid-game.
He's seen the digging claws, so I mean, if he's paying attention to how fast these little lurkers are going in and out of the ground, he knows that Hive is available. He did make that fleet beacon, and we do have a mothership, but we haven't been seeing those late-game air army. That anti-Broodlord tech hasn't been on the way here. Gruther's already away for the laser, and he's pressuring this Nexus again. This time, not breaking off units for that 5th Nexus, just going all in on this 4th.
Couple of very juicy storms, but Elazer is relentless with his aggression. He's doing this of 81 drones as well, so as long as he keeps saturating those drones properly over the bases, which he has been doing, it is okay for Elazer to lose a couple of units here and there, but it's important that he doesn't lose everything at once.
Neeb got rid of the Overseer, and the mothership is floating on over to give cloaking for all these units, meaning that Elazer cannot continue to pressure this without detection.
Now Neeb is like, how do you like this when you can't see my units, huh? That's what you get when you keep killing my Observer over and over again. Now there's also carriers on the way already. Obviously carriers are perfectly fine against Tempest, but it is important you get air upgrades, and you have plenty of carriers, because 2 or 3 carriers is not enough. You're gonna run out of interceptors. If you really want to play carriers, you need multiple Stargates, as our Observer is showing us as well. 1 Stargate against Broodlords is not enough. You need 3, maybe even 4.
Not going to cut the mustard here. He's going to need a couple more. There's Stargates going down. Graviton Catapults going down there. This one Lurker being very annoying. But, you know, it's just seconds away from dying here. Neeb will get rid of that easy peasy, no problem.
This game is living up to the expectations so far, Maynard. Despite the fact that Neeb had a close to flawless early game, Elazer still gave him a run for his money in the mid game.
Absolutely. I love when players are this high level and this closely matched. Actually, looking like Elazer's got a ball of speedlings here. Maybe he wants to run by into the main base, get on top of that production of Neeb. Well, Neeb's army is completely out of position. Might force a recall.
Yeah, and that would be quite painful, as we do have a spike. I am not sure who it is. That's not us, Maynard, as long as it's not us.
That's right.
Or one of the players. That would be quite unfortunate as well. We do have the... Well, actually, let's just wait in case somebody takes out the headset. Yeah. You never know. If you guys just joined us, this is game 1 of our first quarterfinals of the day, and the quarterfinals are looking mighty fine.
There is a bunch of Zergs, a bunch of Protoss, and we have got ourselves Terran as well in the mix. The special getting on through Thermal. And we are back into it. It's all about this series right now on screen. The Sling run by got spotted by Neeb. Both players 81 workers each.
Yeah, I love it. Exactly on 81. Well, Elazer just made an extractor, so he went back to 80. But that's quite funny. 14 minutes into this game. Super high eco game here. So lots of trading has obviously been done. Couple of high Templars. Oh my goodness.
Damn. That's a big storm right there.
You remember that achievement if you kill like 20 units at once with a storm?
Oh,
Neeb just got it.
I forgot about that one.
Just Wings of Liberty things, guys.
Air upgrades going down here, and also melee upgrades are already available for Elazer. He's gotten +1 attack, which will help out the Broodlings and also the Lings here. More and more carriers on the way for Neeb, and he's moving forward onto the map. He's hitting the creep spread, and the creep spread of Elazer hasn't been impressive this game.
Spots the Broodlord also with that one other Archon, gives the heads up for the rest of the army. He's like, guys, there's lots of Broodlords here. Maybe we should wait for a few more of our flying units. At the same time, Neeb is still trying to make something happen with Zealots, and I think this is the very first successful run-by of the game.
Yeah, and Zealot's doing damage to the north, and he gets the gold hatchery down here as well. Storm's blanketing his own army, but he's killing all the Lings here and also damaging the Broodlings. Looks like there's a little bit too much Zerg, though, and he gets pressured back.
Look at these Zealots, though. They've taken down 14 drones. They're going to be able to take down this hatchery as well. And imagine if Neeb would have just run a little bit further south. Maybe he could have clicked on that hatchery as well. But he needs to get out of here. There is just no anti-air in his army. Why doesn't he recall? He could have... Maybe he just doesn't care about the Immortals, but it almost feels like he does care a tiny bit.
I think the Immortals are still pretty useful in case there's more and more Lurkers here from Elazer, but he does get this hatchery, though, and Neeb's done a ton of damage to the economy here of Elazer's being knocked down to 68 drones and losing a couple of hatcheries.
We've got +2 air weapons on the way as well. I think Neeb is almost just buying time. He just doesn't want to see those Broodlords at his front door. So he's like, yeah, follow me all the way into the corner of the map. And he could always recall. And that's exactly what he does. He is buying time for those additional carriers. Now there is still one scary moment to survive for Neeb, and that is that moment perhaps 12, 14 Corruptors could potentially show up. I mean, we're gonna have 9 or 10 on the map right now, and if those Corruptors just ignore everything and right-click on the carriers, it's still dangerous. But with this many cannons and Storm, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, these cannons so brilliant here for Neeb, and the Corruptors are trying to pounce the Skytoss army. One of the carriers goes down. Elazer has to pull out, I feel, though. That is so much Protoss.
Yeah, Elazer still has a lot of units down on the left side. Here's all those Brood Lords. But even if one base falls, though, I mean, Elazer took a lot of economic damage as well. More and more carriers are coming in, and all that Neeb needs to do is just hang in there a little bit longer and get that carrier count up.
Nice control from Elazer using these Overseers, keeping them alive as well. Storm's going down to damage those Corruptors, but the Corruptors can handle a Storm or two. They are hardy units, and so can the Broodlords. This Nexus is still under siege here. The Broodlords are targeting down a lot of these Interceptors, not going for the carriers themselves. Now they are. That carrier down here is going to go down. The Corruptors, though, have been killed.
Yeah, all the Corruptors have gone down. There are Zealots ravaging this base at 6 o'clock as well. And even though it looks like Neeb is under a lot of pressure, and he did lose a couple of probes, he may lose this base. There are so many additional carriers on the way, and with all the economic damage that he has done, and he's still doing, I think that Neeb is doing a very fine job against his army.
Yeah, I'd say he's in the advantage by far here. Getting photon shield upgrades that helps all the entire army here for Neeb. Hydra's coming down to help out, and they barely win this fight as well as he retakes that gold.
Yeah, it just feels like Elazer knows that every second that goes by, that carrier count goes from 2, 3 to suddenly very fast 7 or 8. And at that point, you just need a monstrous economy as a Zerg to be able to deal with that. You need almost everything to be able to deal with that.
Which he does not have.
No, exactly. He doesn't have either of those things. He doesn't have the units to deal with it. It doesn't have the army to deal with it. Doesn't have the creep threat to deal with it either.
Oh no, Elazer losing a few of these Broodlords here to the Interceptors of the carriers. Neeb taking very minimal damage as a return fire here from Elazer.
It's killing all the Overseers, Maynard.
He certainly is, targeting him down. Mothership is getting nailed here by these Corruptors and these Hydras.
I shouldn't probably leave the carriers that exposed, because they're almost out of interceptors. One carrier goes down very quickly.
Ooh.
The other one takes a lot of damage. That's -2 carriers. I think Neeb was a little overconfident there in his carriers, but it still feels that Elazer is starting to run out of steam.
Yeah, he's running out of units here, and as much as that engagement looked like it might have worked out for him, Neeb is overwhelming with these carriers, with this interceptors. One of them goes down. He is still reinforcing 2 at a time, 3 at a time with these carriers, though, and Elazer just doesn't have barely enough to break him.
Elazer has 15 more Hydras on the way, and it almost feels like he needs to win the game with those 15 Hydras. Look at this lurker. There is one observer, but we don't... Okay, it's actually quite close. He could potentially... take care of this lurk. Elazer only on 54 drones, but he does still have some bases. So if he would split them up properly, I'm not sure that this is a rough spot, right? What do you do as a Elazer? Do you sit back and do you make more Corruptors and Hydras, but then you're gonna run into a very high carrier count and Storms? Or do you just try to go for, you know, everything or nothing right now?
I'm trying to think of an answer for Elazer here. Maybe just try and go for another bit, well, just a big attack, a big all-in with what you have. Maybe try and catch the army out of position, get a Nexus or something like that. But it's just so tough to get that done against Neeb, who is so solid and has been solid all game here. The Hydras will catch a couple of these air units. Once again, they're high enough in count to engage these Interceptors, but the Mortals are coming down to help out with charge lots at the front.
Yeah, High Templars coming in as well from the back. They're going to land a couple of Storms. They're going to push this army back. And I think for the first time, Neeb is really taking a commanding lead in this game. Elazer is running out of steam here on Neon Violet Square, and he knows it.
Yeah, this is looking like it's getting closer and closer to him tapping out of game 1. Neeb with an incredible first game here, but both players so closely matched. It really was a tug of war for all this game long for 20 minutes straight, but Neeb is large and in charge, and I just don't see a way for Elazer to come back from this point.
Look at this mighty fine Zealot getting 7 kills already. A couple of links are being produced, but when you're producing Zerglings 20 minutes into a game, when you're facing Storm and carriers, you know that something is not going well for you, because normally you'd prefer to make something else than the first unit you can possibly make.
And these Hydras are not high enough in count to win this battle. Neeb can move to victory right now. GG. The 3-time champ getting his first win here against the Valencia champ, Elazer.
Quite a spectacular game, though, to start the quarterfinals. And don't forget that Neeb had a phenomenal start, right? He kept the Adepts alive, he kept the Oracles alive, he did a lot of economic damage. Yet, Elazer made it very, very close. And at multiple times, it even felt that he was almost breaking Neeb. So what would happen if Neeb doesn't have such a phenomenal start? What if Elazer has a stronger start and he doesn't fall? Maybe behind is not the right word, but his attacks were, I think, later than they could have possibly been, and yet he still got so close.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good start for Elazer versus a flawless start for Neeb, and that little edge is something that a player as good as Neeb will not give away. There was, I feel like when Elazer was attacking the 5th Nexus attempt and the 4th base and starting to really like cut into the Immortal count, starting to really pick off this high tempo every now and then, do a lot of damage to the Nexus, that looked like a moment for Elazer to run away with the game. But Neeb, of course, calm, patient, composed, all staples of his career here.
Yeah, just barely hanging in there, but it was good enough for the American Protoss, who definitely looked good in that game, though. If I compare that to some of his earlier games I saw this weekend, where sometimes he made very uncharacteristic attacks, he felt a little bit impatient. This game, he felt the opposite of impatient. He really felt in control. He felt like he was enjoying every single second of it and never felt too worried, even when Elazer was really putting a lot of pressure on him. So I think for all the Neeb fans out there, that looked a lot better than some of the stuff we saw earlier in this tournament.
Well, he's going to have to do it for 3 games in a row here in the series if he wants to take out Elazer. And Elazer is no pushover. That first game was an example of that. So I'm very, very excited for the series to see how it pans out.
Got a couple of stats there as well. Preseason stats. Elazer versus Protoss, 14-0 in series. 32-4 in maps. And that's versus super legit players as well. Neeb dropped a few more maps against Zerg, but still won the majority of his series, so that's obviously good news for Neeb as well. But those were preseason stats, Maynard. They don't matter when you're sitting on the stage of a WCS Circuit event.
That's right, and it's time to introduce these players to Game 2 in the top left here. From Clash, the Polish Zerg, this is Elazer.
The champion of Valencia last year. Nail-biting finals back then. Got the job done in Game 7. On the right bottom side, we're looking in the main base of the American Protoss, representing Ting. It is Neeb. Neeb.
It's amazing to me every now and then I just sit back and realize how young these kids are and how godlike they are in this game.
Oh, yes. And how old I am.
Yeah.
That's all I feel when I look at them.
Almost double their age.
Yes. But that's what makes this game so beautiful, Maynard. Doesn't matter how old or young you are, you can enjoy it.
I get beaten up by teenagers on ladder every day. Something I have to get used to. It's part of the game.
Yeah, it sure is. So Catalyst is of course a much smaller map than Neon Violet Square, and this also means that we could potentially see a more aggressive Elazer. And if you guys wonder, like, wasn't he very aggressive in the last game? He was, but of an ultra high economy. He had 80 drones by the time he really started to be very aggressive with Hydras and Lurkers. This game, sometimes you have to keep a close eye on the main base of Elazer. He may just make a couple of additional queens and run across the map and try to end it early. He may go for a 50-51 drone Hydra link timing, or this could also be Hydra Bane. I am not expecting him to do the exact same thing as in the previous map, even though that could still work, because Lurkers are Lurkers and they're always strong. And obviously this map is smaller, so his pressure would hit a little bit faster. But I think it's a little bit harder to protect your bases against all that War Prison play that we always see out of Neeb.
Yeah, I actually don't remember a whole lot of War Prison play in Game 1, but...
He tried early on, but Elazer always left a couple of Hydras and Links behind. Elazer does that against the majority of the good Protosses he plays. He does, when he attacks, he doesn't attack with everything. He makes sure that he keeps a solid 12 to 14 supply at home, that if 7 Zealots are warped in, he can just high-five them and he can take care of it on creep.
High-five them?
Yeah, in the face.
Right in the face.
With that Hydra attack.
Good impersonation. When's that voice pack ready? Well, we have the first adept going across the map here with that starport finishing Stargate rather, my Terran brain. This is a regular opening for Neeb. We'll probably see it every game in this series, let's be honest. It is something that's a staple for most Protosses in PvC.
Yeah, it's solid in so many ways. It just makes a lot of sense to open up with a Stargate. If you guys just joined us and wonder why is every Protoss opening up with a Stargate, basically for multiple reasons. The first one is it's very, very good against all-ins. And even though you don't see a lot of all-ins on this level, that is because they all open Stargate. The moment these Protosses would stop open Stargate, you're going to see a lot more 20, 21 drones all-ins, whether it is a Link Float, or it is a Baneling boss, or it is a Roach Ling all-in of 20 drones. These kind of builds are just really hard to defend ever since the Mothership Core disappeared. And that's why you kind of want to rely on the Stargate. Then, of course, the Stargate does some economic damage. Always, you might get a drone or 2, 3, if you're lucky, 5 or 6. If not, at least you're going to force out a couple of Spore Crawlers. So it just makes the Stargate opening perfect.
And it's cool to see adjustments from the Elazer of old. Normally, he would always open with Overlord speed, but in this game, not even bothering with it. Just getting the information that he needs. Could be because of the bases being a little bit closer here on a map like this, but you know, the first couple of depths of Neeb still doing the damage, and just holding on to that third base for now. Elazer is going to have to deal with this, but of course the Adepts with the Oracle to support are quite an annoying thing to dig out in the early stages of the game when you don't have a big army.
You can see Elazer was hiding the Zerglings there for a split second, and then he's like, if Neeb doesn't let that Shade finish up, I'm gonna jump on top of those Adepts immediately and perhaps surround them. That's not going to be the case. We see additional gateways being thrown down on the other side of the map, but it's only 2, so that more feels like safety gateways that you could potentially need if you want to go up to 3 bases and want to keep that Nexus alive.
And it looks like Elazer's going for the same sort of play as last game, Roddy. No Bailey Nest. Lair going down now as he takes his gases.
I like Banelings on this map though.
Mind.
But lots of extractors as well. I don't expect this to be a Nidus, but it is a possibility with all these extractors. Let's see. I mean, Elazer, how many queens are we looking? He's not building additional queens though. He's got 4 already. We'll keep a close eye on it. It's very hard to make that exact call right now, but normally Elazer is not a Roach Warren type of player. He's making 3 Overlords. That gives us the idea that he wants to free up some supply and perhaps make a lot of Roaches. And Elazer is not the type of Zerg to just make a bunch of Roaches and then not do anything with it. But for now, it's still drones.
Resonating Glaives is a response here for Neeb back on his side of the map. And yeah, I mean, I haven't seen an Evolution Chamber from Elazer just yet, so Drop of Lord's not really going to be a thing, I don't think. But
now, Roaches are very good against Adepts, as long as they're in the right position. Adepts, of course, a little bit more mobile than Roaches, especially if Roaches don't have speed. We've had 8 Roaches. Now, that is the absolute maximum amount of safety or defensive Roaches that I ever expect. I love the move here with 3 Oracles instead of 2. And look at Neeb just doing an insane amount of economic damage, lifting that Queen as well with the Phoenix. Well done.
Yeah, a ton of drones going down here to these triple Oracles of Neeb. They're all still alive as well, gathering energy. Queen's coming down, trying to pick them off, but they still survive, getting a tag off as well on the way out. Elazer's going to try and go for a counterattack here to the third base, but Neeb is starting to reinforce it. In fact, he already has a big ball of Adepts ready.
Yep, and he's got the Adepts with Resonating Glaives as well. So I'm so confused about the Roaches. This doesn't feel like an Elazer game. If Elazer makes Roaches, he normally really has a proper plan with them, but they are just chilling at home. Maybe his plan was to get a cancel with all these Zerglings, but I mean, against this many Adepts, there's absolutely no way. So what is Elazer going to do with all these Roaches that he's making? He knows the longer he waits, the more Immortals he will start facing. And Neeb is like, hey, that trick worked out really well. Let's do this one more time.
And so he does. The Spore Crawler damaging one of these Oracles. Looks like it might go down.
No,
never mind.
Oh, they both survive, Maynard. Neeb takes a 13 drone advantage this quick into the game. We still got those Roaches there. Now Elazer is trying to recover economically by making more and more drones. He's starting to make Hydras as well. But it feels odd, man. It feels, what have these Roaches accomplished?
Not much. I really just don't feel like the Roach is super great in PvZ at the moment. It's just...
I think if you make them, you gotta go all out. You gotta really commit to your Roaches and either go tunneling claws and just try to run by everywhere, mass Roach, or you make only 4 or 5 against potential Resonating Glaives play. But he made 8. 8 is a very reasonable amount of Roaches, and it just it hasn't done anything for him.
Neeb going for Colossus here instead of a Templar tech to marry up with those Adepts that he's already got.
No.
A little bit of a difference.
I mean, he's gonna get a second Robo as well, right? So he can start chrono boosting out Immortals. But Neeb is probably looking at this game. He's like, I've done a lot of economic damage. You've made Roaches. You haven't really done much. My economy is good. I don't have much to worry about here. You know, the ball is in your corner right now. Often early game, the ball's in the corner of the Protoss. Protoss needs to make some magic happen. And Neeb is like, hey, I've made magic happen, all right. I have killed probably close to 31 drones even. Over 30 drones already. It's up to you, Elazer, to do something about what I am doing right now.
And first couple Colossi getting produced here for Neeb. Extended Thermalance +1 going down on that Forge. Just a single Forge for Neeb. Don't need double Forges against Zerg. It's all about those attack upgrades.
Every now and then you'll see it just for fun. If Protoss feels very far ahead, it's like, you know what, let's get +3 plasma shields as well. Good luck with your Zerglings and Banelings against my Archons.
I love the Sim City for Neeb. That one robotics facility kind of out in the open a little bit, but this shield battery going to keep these probes alive for now as he gets those Adepts back in position.
A couple of Adepts as well made it to the other side of the map as Elazer was paying attention to his Zerglings. And just like that, I mean, yes, he is running into mineral lines, but he's lost 9 drones already.
so much and economical damage done by Neeb in this game.
Yeah,
Elazer, you know, he's finding a little bit, but that dwarfs in comparison to what Neeb's done.
Minus 40 workers at this point for Elazer in this game. The Oracles are still alive. We've got that Lurker then finishing up. Now with Lurkers, you could say there's always a little bit of magic possible. And maybe Elazer just felt like, all right, this has not been my game at all. What I'm going to do is make a bunch of Lurkers, sit back, eventually go up to Hive. And I just hope that Neeb makes a bad mistake and steps on creep too far, runs into my Lurkers, maybe attacks me without a prism, something uncharacteristic. As for Elazer to attack into Neeb, into all those sentries as well, that's going to be very tough.
There's a good number of Immortals here, a lot of Resonating Glaives Adepts here that are about to have +1 attack as well. I mean, Elazer's army just looks a little wonky, Roddy. It looks a little uncomfortable. Just a bunch of Roaches, a bunch of Hydras.
And these units are probably looking at each other as well. Are you supposed to get the job done? No, you guys, no.
Am I supposed to be the meat shield?
Yeah.
Yes, what's my job here?
Yeah, this is, it feels rough, but with 6-7 Lurkers on the way, perhaps there is hope for our Polish Zerg, the champion of Valencia last year. Was hoping to play Elazer in the quarterfinals. He got what he wished for as well, but so far it's not going his way.
Yeah, congratulations, Elazer. Here's your prize.
Then again, I do like it when a player has ambitions, you know. You want to play the best. You want to win a championship, you want to do it by defeating the best as well. Not by avoiding the players that you're scared of.
That's right. How confident would you feel if you take out Neeb in this bracket? But at the moment, Neeb looking quite strong. The Colossi doing a lot of damage from the back, but ooh, a lot of the Biles connecting actually. That one Colossus goes down, but there's not a ton of extra army supply here for Elazer. These Lurkers though, oh my god, another Colossus goes down. Third one nearly going down. An overextension perhaps by Neeb.
Yeah, he's losing 3 out of 4 Colossus. The force fields are nice there though, so he's going to be able to pick up all those Ravagers, those Hydras as well. The Roach was still at home, but that wasn't totally necessary by Neeb. He's just running straight with an army and like in a straight arrow almost into a concave of 6-7 Lurkers. And especially if you have an army that consists of a bunch of Stalkers and Colossus, they're going to take a lot of damage. And I don't really understand why, because he had no Prism here, he's not really doing anything else right now. It feels unnecessary what Neeb is doing. He's going to blink forward, take at least out one Lurker. Has to be careful.
And he's off blink cooldown now, and the Lurkers are continuing to do that splash damage here. More and more Stalkers dying. The Roaches and the Hydras trying to sort of linebacker in front of these Lurkers as well. That one putting on more damage here.
I like that one though. The emote is like, guys, stay back. I'm going in. And so,
hold my beer.
Yeah, that was the ultimate hold my beer moment. Hydra's going to try to take this fight, but with a Guardian Shield, that Colossus really has to fall. Elazer knows that as well, but he's not getting it, so instead he's going to end up losing almost all of his Hydras.
Yeah, there's extra couple Colossi coming in the battle right on time for Neeb as well. Elazer just not with too much on the front line here. He's diving, trying to get whatever he can, but it's looking like it's a little bit too much again from Neeb. With +2 attack, these Colossi are doing so much damage, this hatchery will not survive. That's going down.
That double robo play is really working out. +2 attacks have finished up as well for both players actually, but Neeb is going to be a little bit more happy with it, especially when he still has this amount of Stalkers, when he's still got 2 Immortals in the mix, and he's got 3 Colossus as well. Look what he's doing without a Prism. Like, this is almost madness, but Neeb is just that confident.
Lazer's closing in here, but this just seems like overwhelming army supply here for the Protoss. A little bit of sloppiness from Neeb perhaps, but it doesn't matter in the end. Just way too much damage output, way too much splash damage from Neeb. Elazer rallying in his units, looking for these Colossus kills. He is getting a couple, but not enough. GG! And Neeb already finds himself on match point.
Neeb is playing this quarterfinal pretty damn flawless so far. I'm very impressed with how he handled this game as well. I love the double Oracle into Phoenix, into one more surprise Oracle. There's one Queen in the main with one Spore Crawler, and it's like normally that's all right. And then the Phoenix flies in, you lift the Queen, suddenly you've got 3 Oracles. And yeah, Spore Crawler is decent anti-air, but that's obviously not going to be enough against 3 Oracles. And Neeb just did a lot of economic damage and seemed like he had a very proper read on the game. And perhaps he even played a little too aggressive in the end when he kept running into those Lurkers, but it didn't really matter. He kept under pressure, he was rich, he took 0 economic damage in that game, and just, I don't know, he had a little Protoss party with himself.
Well, people were saying, hey, he's looking like he's, you know, he can bleed. Gods do bleed. Neeb went down in maps against some of the Zergs that you don't really expect for him to go down against. Lambo 2-0ing him in the groups. Not stuff you expect for Neeb, but it looks like he's really pulled his socks up, and just that patient, that flawless play from Neeb that we come to expect is back again.
I mean, he says it as well, right? In the interviews, he's like, I'm a great tournament player. And it really does seem like he grows every round into a tournament further and further. Neeb very often has where he shines in day one, and then day two suddenly he feels shaky. Yesterday, it obviously wasn't the best Neeb we've ever seen, but it was enough for him to advance. Early this morning against Hero Marine, he took it out. I mean, he got the job done 3-1, but was it convincing? Not all that much. Definitely some bumping and bruising, as Kolaris would say, but he did get the job done. But in this quarterfinals, this looks like the Neeb that has won 3 WCS Circuit events last year, because he looks close to untouchable.
All eyes on this guy on the screen right now. Elazer needs to win the next 3 maps in a row to stay alive in this tournament. But yet another semi-final appearance. Elazer has been, was basically the highest placing non-Korean in BlizzCon until Special's incredible 2017 run. Made it to that round of 8 over Showtime.
But he's still the only non-Korean to make it into the playoffs of the global finals back-to-back years. I mean, nobody else can say that. So obviously incredible consistency out of Elazer as well. And, you know, we're going to go for the cliche. If anybody can come back from a 2-0 deficit, I don't want to say it's Elazer against Neeb, but I have seen Elazer do it before. Once upon a time when Elazer was nowhere near the player he is right now. He was down 2-0 against Petit Drogo in a Home Story Cup. Quarterfinals, turned it around, even when he was in a very rough spot in game number 3. And in the end, he still took the victory, 3-2, and advanced to the semifinals. And that was still a very young Elazer, and by now he's a lot more experienced. He's a tournament champion. He's a veteran on the biggest stage, but he's done it multiple times in his career. But this could be the toughest one of them all.
Yeah, he doesn't look it, but he is older and wiser. And a lot better player as a result. Both these players better than they've ever been. So they get better every year, Roddy. It's hard to keep up with them, unfortunately. They have to stop playing for a few years for us to try and catch up.
Neeb looks quite happy and content with how this quarterfinals has been going so far. Right, it's always hard, right, what they truly expect. They can both say that they're looking forward to it, but I still wonder, and you never really know how these styles match up against each other as well. But yeah, Neeb is just doing everything right. He's just getting ahead in these games without really committing much. He's not losing any workers. He's not taking damage on his side of the map. It almost feels like all the early game action takes place on the Elazer side of the map. And by the time that Elazer attacks, it feels like he's in a corner already where he needs to do pretty much game-ending damage.
StarCraft and love on the floor there, and we have an Elazer fan. You're going to have to be sending in that energy, mate, because your boy is on the ropes.
Never give up.
Never surrender.
That's the spirit.
That's right, man. So we just got a minute here. Both, we just try to make sure that no one's lagging here as we go into the 3rd game.
Lots of happiness in the audience here in Leipzig. Have you noticed that?
I have, actually. Very, very positive crowd, positive energy. And I'm a man that feeds off that. I am like a divining rod for positive energy, Roddy. I can feel it all myself.
You've been busting out a little bit of Deutsch as well for the Leute here.
Yeah.
Are you going to continue with that?
Oh, look, I might save it for one series here and there, maybe.
Okay.
Just right now.
You know, it makes them happy.
Oh, of course.
A good old man from down under, coming to Germany, speaking a little bit of Deutsch for the people here.
Oh, look, I'll try. Ich liebe Leipzig. Definitely.
No one understood you.
What?
No, I don't know.
Yes, they did.
Oh, I know. Look at those grins. They're like, yeah. Liebst du
Like
Leipzig? Wirklich, hey? Ja. Du bist super, Jungs.
Now they don't understand you either. I guess you got to work on your German as well.
Or they're just tired of us and they just want to see game number 3.
Right.
Both players just requested a small break. As obviously this is a very important moment for Elazer. His tournament life is on the line. And you don't just want to rush into game 3 still steaming. Sometimes you just need a minute to compose yourself, recollect your thoughts, and go into map number 3 with a fresh game plan.
Definitely not. Looks like they're ready now, though. Just keeping up with that lobby chat. Oh, man. Impressive beards out there in the crowd. It's really making things rough for myself.
You find beards really intimidating, don't you?
No, I don't. I just find them incredibly manly and sexy.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. You can try, Roddy, but I don't think it'll suit you, unfortunately.
No comment. I'm not sure if I'm manly enough to grow on, but that's okay.
You are all that is man, Rotterdam. Please don't even pretend that's not the case.
All right. Well, we are getting ready to hop into Blackpink for our 3rd match here in this first quarterfinals of today. The show definitely doesn't end if this quarterfinals is over. We've got 3 more amazing best of 5s coming your way. Some great players still in the tournament like Nurcho, Serral, Snoot, Special. But for now, all eyes on these two as we're looking at the main base of our Polish Zerg. If you want him to make a comeback, he needs your support. Give it up for Elazer.
Still so many fans out there in the crowd, no surprise at all. And we are being magically whisked away to the bottom left corner of Blackpink here, who is currently on match point, the three-time WCS champion, the American Protoss. This is Neeb!
The three-time, the back-to-back two, took a break, and then back again. WCS 2017 champion.
As Nathaniel's put, the back-to-back to almost back.
Yeah, two really back. Absolutely amazing what both of them accomplished in 2017. It was just a great year for both of those players. The amazing thing as well last year is that Elazer actually missed out on the first circuit event of 2017. And some people thought like, well, then it's going to be really hard for him to make the global finals, right? He was never worried. He said, nah, I'll be fine. And then obviously in Yon Shopping, he collected quite a few points when he made it to the semifinals. And then in Valencia, he's like, well, instead of just collecting points, why don't I just win a stop? So I get directly seeded into the global playoffs.
Must be nice to just be like, you know what? I'm just going to win one.
Or global finals, rather.
Yeah.
You don't get seeded into the playoffs, guys. You still need to play a group stage there, but that'd be amazing, no?
Would be really nice. It's a lot of money for these guys.
Top 8 guaranteed at the global finals. Like,
Not bloody bad.
let's increase the stakes. Curious to see how Neeb is going to open up here. Ooh, okay, that's
All right.
Yeah, that's a little different than something else that we have seen.
It's going to be some early adept pressure here for me.
Just going to see some good old gateway play. I mean, he's scouted on the other side of the map. He knows that there is a head tree. He knows there are obviously Zerglings on the way soon as that spawning pool is finished up. Curious to see where he takes this. Maybe it's adapt into a Twilight, into more adapts. You know that?
Maybe.
Every now and then he does it, so he has 6 adapts quite quickly, and then he can make a big push. Could be a later Stargate, can also... Yeah, I don't know, let's see.
Elazer spots the gateway count here with your Overlord in the natural, obviously. He has full scouting information here. Drops that third base, just still producing queens, still producing drones, no freak out from Elazer or anything like that, just not going to overcommit. He's played this dance before. So Stalker and Adept.
Yeah, Stalker Adept. Now the Stalker is obviously going to take care of this Overlord. Neeb does drop the Twilight console right below that Overlord. There's a very happy Zergling just running into main base as well. Additional Zerglings are going to run into the main base, and this is a little bit frustrating. There's a good chance that Neeb is going to end up losing a probe or 2 here. 2 probes actually already gone down, and I think that's going to be it. Well, not bad for 4 Zerglings.
And these little running boys getting the job done. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's a nice trade for Elazer in the early stages. Neeb still has those 2 gateways, still has the ability to put some pressure on though, and Elazer's been droning quite heavily.
Yeah, but he's not building any additional units, so it's going to be very fast resonating glaives here. Yes, it is. Now, what I'm hoping for, Maynard, is something that Neeb is one of the last Protosses out there that I want to say does it, but he's not going to do it this time, is that sometimes he follows up resonating glaives with double Stargate. I really enjoy watching it. I think it's an awesome playstyle, but unfortunately, we already see the Robo. So now there is a good chance that we're going to see some Adapt madness, right? Because he opened up with 2 gates. He has dropped 2 additional gates. So that means he's going to get a quick Prism and 4 gateways to warp in Adepts. Well, good luck and fun Adept party.
The Mass Adept style that Neeb has actually won tournaments off the back of here, with the Dark Shrine going down as well. So even some Archons to come into play, or just even the Cloaked Boys getting in there, slashing some drones to pieces.
Yeah, it's always possible, especially if he shows up with Adepts. Elazer might think that's the only thing he has to worry about. Elazer is getting a Roach Warren, but I definitely have the feeling that this is just a safety Roach Warren. He spotted the double gate, he spotted the Twilight. You don't want to only rely on Zerglings if you potentially go up against a quick Archon build, or just a bunch of Zealots with charge, or Adepts with resonating glaives. Having access to a Roach Warren is just very nice there. But Elazer is also the type of Zerg where if they start trading and Elazer felt like it went well, then he's going to keep making units. He's going to try to run across the map and perhaps kill Neeb.
Yeah, this is one of the few situations where I think that making Roaches makes a ton of sense in this matchup.
Yeah.
Where he goes, Little Reconstitution goes down. He has a lair already, so he can make some mobile detection as well if he needs it. Dark Shrines, 3/4 of the way done here for Neeb. Resonating Glaives is done in a couple seconds, and he's going for his push.
Now, Elazer has spotted that the additional gases are up and running, and if you just want to make Adepts, you don't really need all that much gas. Good job there on the Zergling showing up as well. denying Neeb from going up to 3 bases, and there is no shield battery here.
Yeah, just
so this is going to force a defensive warp in or two. Neeb should temporarily perhaps fully wall off here, maybe a shield battery as well, and he needs to warp in an adept or two behind this, otherwise he's going to end up losing quite a few units.
Ooh.
These Archons are not going to get the job done against these Roaches though,
Yeah.
that Cybercore is taking a lot of damage.
And the Queens are here as well to try and pressure on that Warp Prism. The Adepts are shading to try and pull a bunch of Lasers units out of the fight. He loads up those Archons. A Cybercore's going to go down.
I mean, Neeb's going to end up warping in one Adept, but that means from now on he can't warp in any more Adepts, which means Zealots are going to have a hard time taking care of those Zerglings in the main base, in the Natural as well. We do have a shield battery helping out a little bit. I still don't like it for Neeb at all, though. He lost a lot of Adepts. He didn't get that much economic damage done. He lost more probes at home than he killed drones.
Yeah, he lost 8 probes while he was doing his harassment on the outside. That Warp Prism is very heavily damaged as well. Queen's still in position. Uh-oh. Oh. All right, so the Prism does get out of there, and the Archons are getting damage done, but they are out of range for the pickups at the moment. One goes down.
Oh, he wants to get it on the Queen as well, but he doesn't get it, and the Queen does get the Prism.
GG! Elazer fights back and puts a point on the board. The channeling of the energy for the crowd here in Leipzig, giving him what he needs.
Makes you wonder, right? Why did Neeb exactly go for that build? The double Adept really didn't work out early on. I love the additional 4 links early on just to annoy, just run in, try to get a little bit of damage done. And it just felt that Neeb's build was never truly up and running. It felt everything was a little bit delayed, and Elazer had a perfect read on it.
Absolutely, held on like a champ, had absolutely everything covered back at home. And that attack, not every Zerg will do that. Break off a handful of speedlings and go for an attack when there's a big gateway pressure coming at you. They'll go like, some Zergs will be like, hey, I need everything at home. And that's what people has to do
It
back.
makes perfect sense though, right? Because what are Lings truly going to accomplish against 2 Archons and a bunch of Adepts with Resonating Glaives? Really not all that much, unless you have a few Banelings in the mix as well, because then you can surround those units, Banelings can connect. But if you already have 6, 7, 8 Roaches on the way, you've got a couple of Queens in a strong defensive position, why not try to counter with your Adepts? And they did a phenomenal job.
Absolutely. And we got ourselves a series here. No clean sweep for Neeb. Could even potentially be going to an ace match here if Elazer has a solid game 4.
It's going to be on one of the newer maps, and this is a massive map as well. We are loading into Eastwatch. I don't think we've seen a bunch of Eastwatch this tournament. I saw a ZvP between Lambo and Snoot.
Yeah, I've seen it off stage.
Yeah.
I've seen Eastwatch, like in the laptop games, but not on main stage.
I don't think I've seen it either on the mainstream, unless I'm forgetting about the game right now. But this map is massive. There is no other way to put it. And it's also a unique map where it comes to the map being actually very flat. They should have called it the Netherlands. There are no hills at all there, Maynard.
Australia is quite flat as well, mate. We have one mountain that's not even that very tall, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, at least you guys have dangerous animals. We don't have those either.
Just the Dutch.
All we have is cheese, wooden shoes, and windmills.
And tulips. Don't forget the tulips.
That's true.
All right, well, big open map. Generally, that means that it's pretty good design-wise for a Zerg.
I mean, it's a big map and it's a flat map, but it does have an insane amount of choke points, though. We've got a bunch of rocks as well, and there is a relatively safe gold base. And there are a lot of bases that, if you attack them, you truly have to commit, because there is almost no way out, or at least it gets a little narrow. So even though the map is massive, it's hard to find like a big wide open area like we've seen on some of those other maps in the past. So this should be a fun one. I have definitely not seen a PvZ of this level before on this map. Let's go.
All right, guys, let's do it. Channeling one more time if you want to see that ace match. In the top right here from Clash, the Polish Zerg. This is Elazer.
On the left bottom side of this big map that we're looking at, the main base of our American Protoss representing Ting, it is Neeb.
Big Protoss on a big map.
I can see the first Zerglings falling. It's Emilia, you know?
Yeah, I caught that reference.
Yeah, I know, I'm not the greatest singer, but I hope you got it.
I'm used to your sultry tones already. I watch you stream quite a bit.
Yeah. Can't help myself. If you give me a setup like that, Maynard, you just set me up for disaster. But I'll take it for the team. If I can bring a smile on that beautiful face of yours, it just makes me happy.
Oh, Jesus, I'm blushing over here. Now, we see that Elazer's not taking his natural here. In fact, he's dropped his pool and his gas. And he's going for the gold. Wow, interesting.
Yeah. I wonder how much practice Elazer had on this map, especially in this matchup. This gold is quite far away. Now, normally you can absolutely take it as your third base, but to transfer all these drones, that takes a little while. It's not as quick as some of the other maps we've had in the past. I love the little train roads or the trail.
Yeah, it looks cool. Sort of gives you.
I wish there was a little train driving by every now and then with like 5 minerals on top of it, so you can just steal it.
That'd actually freak me out. I'd be like, "What the hell are you doing?" So,
that'd be awesome.
I'm glad the map maker didn't put it in there as cool as it was.
I think we need some dynamic elements into StarCraft too. Every now and then gas comes by, minerals come by.
There's birds.
That's true. And apparently Backwater has got a bunch of random animals around the map making a lot of noise.
Yeah, that is true.
Which I haven't heard yet because I always play with music, but
I heard them. I was playing without music on the hotel room. I was like, what the hell is that?
I look forward to it.
Please.
So here we do have those drones being transferred, but as you guys can see, it takes a little while. There is also one more important thing we have to mention, and I have had this before. When I took the gold base on this map, there are rocks collapsible rocks between your main base and your gold. If Neeb can somehow find it in him to make something, to make those, to get enough damage to make these rocks collapse, then Sarah is basically closed off of his own natural expand, and things could get very, very dicey. We see Neeb open up with a Twilight console here. Could be straight resonating glaives, could be a Dark Templar
I haven't
build.
seen a robo yet.
But I think that Neeb loves his, Neeb still loves the adepts with resonating glaives.
He certainly does. Like I said, when he was starting to make the adepts in the last game, he's literally won tournaments off the fact that his adept play's been so good. His PvT was wonderful during that adept Phoenix meta.
Now Elazer spots it, and I think that Elazer is not going to make a Roach War in this game, even though it worked out perfectly, but I am truly expecting a Baneling Nest. I think against the straight Resonating Glaives opening like this, I think Ling Bane is actually stronger than Roaches. Yeah. Roaches can work, but only if you want to end the game with those same Roaches as well. But otherwise, you're just going to be chasing after a unit you can't catch, and there you have it, the Baneling Nest. I think that makes perfect sense. Good choice. But now it still comes down to execution. This is not like, oh my god, Elazer's got the counter. No, this is like, Elazer has the tools to deal with it.
Yeah.
But does he have what it takes to truly get the job done?
Well, he very likely wouldn't have Baneling speed, and they almost certainly won't. And that gold base is tough to defend. He doesn't have creep connected there. The queens aren't going to come on down there.
And the moment you have 7, 8, 9 adepts, you can actually potentially get those rocks down. Don't underestimate the damage output of like 8, 9 adepts with resonating glaives. Now Elazer could potentially go for a Baneling bus as well, as he's already making a lot of lings. He's on 31 drones. Ooh. Is Neeb aware that this amount of Zerglings have been produced already? I don't think he is. Does he have a wall off? No, he doesn't, right?
No, he doesn't.
He does. He did leave the probe behind. But how fast is Neeb? How fast is Neeb?
Not fast enough. Elazer is in, and he goes into the natural. Neeb still sending the adepts across the map. They are shading as quickly as possible. These adepts are in a lovely spot. They can get wedged between that pylon.
Oh, he needs to
split. The Banelings, they're rolling on in. They're off creep, and Neeb is reacting as quickly as possible.
Okay, 2 adepts do take a lot of damage, but 4 adepts are going to make it into main base. Neeb has not taken that much economic damage yet, but he's not paying attention. He ignored those Zerglings that are left. He needs to take care of the Lings, and at the same time, he needs to kill as many drones as possible.
He's targeting them down now as quickly as he can, but he hasn't cleaned up these Lings yet. They're still killing probes for Rotterdam.
Well done. This counter by Elazer is phenomenal. I love it. I think it made a lot of sense. It's quite an even game. The double Stargate, did it already finish up or did it cancel? It finished, right? Double Stargate for Neeb. Can we take a look? Yes. So I'm expecting some good old Mass Phoenix. And if Neeb truly wants to turn me into the biggest fan ever, he drops a Dark Shrine as well. And then my life is complete, Maynard.
Well, fingers crossed under the desk here at the casting lounge. We'll see.
Obviously, Neeb is not done yet. Now, Elazer did do a decent job in slowing Neeb down, and it's almost impossible to focus on your adepts being aggressive and at the same time defending on your side of the map. But Neeb is like, all right, you still got no Baneling speed. Let's try this one more time. Elazer is not aware of these adepts making their way across the map. +1 air weapons as well on the Phoenix.
That's a big commitment to the air attack here for Neeb.
Cancel. I would have liked to see him cancel that. But now he's actually in the middle of all these bases. He could start working on these rocks.
Yeah, he's not thinking about it. He's actually just more concentrating on getting to the army supply, getting to the drone count.
No, he's not going to catch. Ooh, has to be careful though. There are a couple of Banelings there, and you don't want to shade into those Banelings. Neeb is still on 2 bases, so even though the work account is, the work account is close, right? Oh, is he going to let that finish now with the bases as well? If I was Neeb, I would focus on expanding at this point. I think he could have done more with these adepts, but he played it very safe.
I'm a little bit concerned about the lack of creep spread here for Elazer as well. It's so tough for him to get around to his infrastructure and defend on two fronts.
Yeah, but how is he supposed to get it, right? With all these adepts just still lurking around. There are Banelings there. Neeb has a lot of adepts, though. This is kind of hard, though, for Elazer because his army is so split up. Neeb is sniping Banelings like he is a Terran player, which obviously he used to be.
Yeah, that's true. I forget that from time to time. There you go. More and more Phoenixes getting pulled out here for Neeb. Elazer sees this. His Overlord goes down and pays the ultimate price for this information. And he's going to be a supply block for a little bit as he gets that Overlord count back up. Trying to make a big ball of Hydras now with muscular augments.
I am surprised we still haven't seen Baneling speed. I think Baneling speed is almost crucial. Otherwise, Elazer is going to be in this very awkward spot where he can almost never engage. Now, I must say that this Nexus, though, is very, very late by Neeb. It is ultra late even. This is 7 minutes into the game. He did do economic damage. He took some economic damage. These Phoenixes are going to go to town on these Hydras, plus 1 air weapons. And I think that this time Neeb is really looking to do some serious damage.
He is, but the Banelings are still here, and a lot of these adepts do go down to the Banelings. Still so many left over. These Hydras are coming down slowly but surely. They don't have muscular augments until just now, and the Phoenixes can just go into the main and continue their reign of terror.
Yeah, a couple of adepts shaded into the natural as well, but Elazer is not taking that much damage yet. Has he taken damage? Yes, absolutely. But you want to be careful, though, because Phoenixes need to be in high numbers, and every Phoenix you lose is a painful one when you're only on 2 bases.
Some big connections on these adepts as well. The adept count not looking impressive anymore. In fact, Neeb's army supply isn't that great, and Elazer's getting a big ball of Hydras out.
Yeah, but it is hard to run all the way to the other side of the map with Hydras, as long as Neeb is careful with his Phoenixes.
Oh no! Neeb, an uncharacteristic mistake there, losing a few of his Phoenixes, which is so important to his army.
It really is, because this Nexus was so late. It's 8 minutes into the game, and Neeb is still on 2 bases. Elazer is on 41 drones. He was supply block. I think Elazer will make nothing but units and try to win this game. Without Baneling speed, though, you can't forget about the Adepts. The Adepts are still going to be very strong defensively against Hydras.
I completely agree with you. It's a 100% necessary upgrade for Elazer right now. He's making these Banelings on the front line. Neeb going to knock down the rocks, though, make things a little bit tougher for him.
Careful with the Phoenix. Phoenix is so important. That's a lot of Banes, but maybe shield batteries would be very useful here. That's 20 Banelings. I mean, maybe you don't need Baneling speed if you just go for 20 Banelings. Elazer is going to try to win the game right here, right now, and if he doesn't, his tournament life will end.
There's a Depth Shade seeing what he's up against here. But the Hydras are coming and knocking. He finishes the Shade. There were a lot of Banelings back there.
I think he went kind of... Wait, all the Adepts just disappeared?
Yeah, I think he just lost them all to the...
He just shaded into all of the Banelings.
It wasn't on camera, but I'm pretty sure that happened, GG.
Oh my goodness.
That is a massive mistake there from Neeb, and Elazer gets himself to the ace match.
Wow. What a bizarre game here on Eastwatch, a map that is very new to our map pool that we haven't seen too many games on. And even though Neeb looked in total control of this best of 5 after the first 2 games, suddenly we're all tied up. I think there was a lot of potential in this final game. I think Neeb did a lot of things right. The only thing that was a big mistake, I think, is letting the Zerglings in his main, because then you can't really focus properly on your Adepts on the other side of the map. But I think an even bigger mistake was just waiting that long with the Nexus. It felt like it took forever until he dropped his 3rd Nexus.
Oh man, a really bit of a sloppy game there, unfortunately to say, there on Eastwatch for Neeb. He had such a strong start in the series, 2-0 up, in commanding fashion as well.
And just a few too many Adepts went down. Phoenixes as well on the other side of the map. Phoenixes can truly snowball against Hydra, but you have to be very, very careful. The moment you have 5-6 Phoenixes, that is a crucial phase in the game. You cannot afford to lose, and we saw one die to a Spore, one die to a Queen. Then he idled them for a little bit as well above that big pack of Hydras. And then in the end, he shaded all of his Adepts very deep behind the army of Elazer. Elazer leaving a couple of Banes behind, like you said, Maynard. And all of those Adepts, there was one Adept left to tell the tale.
I saw that, but those Banelings being morphed back there, there was like 12, maybe 10 Banelings back there, and then that Shade finished, and I'm like, uh-oh.
I almost felt that maybe Neeb wanted to go for some sort of a base trade, right? Where he's like, well,
maybe
you're all in, but if I can just start picking off everything on the other side of the map, then I think that my Adept Phoenix, if I squeeze out a few more Phoenix, if I warp in a few more Adepts outside of my main, can get the job done. But then he just lost all of his Adepts before the party even started.
Oh, what a comeback from Elazer, the Valencia champion, fighting back 2 games in a row to get himself a well-earned 5th game here against Neeb. Could this be the elimination of Neeb in Season 1 Leipzig Finals, or will Elazer move on through and lead. And will Neeb actually keep his tournament spirits alive? It's the thing that I'm just kind of wondering here.
It stands, Maynard. I can hear it, I can feel it as well, as we have loaded into one of these other new maps. It's a map that has already granted us with some amazing games in this tournament. As we're looking at the main base of our Polish Zerg, he tied things up. It is Elazer.
The Elazer fans, he's all hyped now. And in the bottom right here from Ting, this is Neeb. Shaky last couple games. Potential reverse all kill here for Elazer.
Neeb definitely looked a little frustrated after that previous game. I think he saw a lot of opportunity. I think the builds squared off well against each other for Neeb, especially when he was able to position his adepts very well in between. I would have really loved to see him work on those rocks. I felt like he had plenty of time to knock down those rocks, and then you make things so awkward for Elazer. I felt that was kind of a missed opportunity. But it's been a fun series, man, and I am happy that we went to distance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like we deserve it as well, and both these players deserve it, considering they are so closely matched. Sometimes in StarCraft, it's hard to look good when you're losing a game. Elazer looked a little shaky in 1 and 2, but of course it was very, very close. We know that. Both players are very, very closely matched.
I think game 1, Elazer looked quite good, right on Neon Violet,
Yep.
even though he took quite... Ooh, Neeb making a big mistake there. Well, I mean, big mistakes, maybe slight exaggerated, but those are very precious seconds. You cannot lose. That Cybercore should have been down like, 6, 7, 8 seconds quicker.
Yeah.
And perhaps Neeb shaking a little bit.
Yeah, that last game certainly... I mean, we could even see his body language there. But while we're waiting for game 5, he's clearly quite shaken up by Elazer's last couple games here. Hopefully he can keep that composure here. He's very famous for his composure.
Yeah, I mean, he is going to be able to just continue probes. It's just first adapt is going to be a little bit later, but sometimes you miss a few minerals anyway to drop the Stargate immediately. So not the end of the world, but it is important. Neeb going back to that very solid, just 1 gate Stargate opening. Obviously, with tournament live on the line, this is not a time to experiment and try to do something else.
Right, go for Old Faithful.
Yep, I absolutely did not mind the game on Eastwatch. I thought it was a good build by Neeb. I think execution could have been a tiny bit better, but I think it made sense, and I felt he made it close. But the 2-gate opening on Blackpink, I am not a big fan of that one, and that one really didn't work out. It seemed like Elazer just knew exactly how to deal with that.
It's a small little detail here, but I'm a little surprised by the expansion path for Elazer, where he's taking his third. It's expanding towards the Protoss. Generally, the Zerg wants to expand along the edge of the map. Oh, the Zerg, rather, wants to be across the edge of the map against Protoss, but it's
Probably
a little bit different.
Probably have to wonder as well, how many games did Elazer truly play on this map, right?
Yeah, that's
Zerg versus Protoss. I think a lot of these Europeans, when they are preparing for tournaments like this, they play an insane amount of ZvZs, because you know that's what you're going to face. If you're a star in ZvP, that's nice and all, but in general, they don't fear that many Protosses other than Neeb, Showtime, and of course, a Hearthstone with DNS could be tricky. But having solid ZvZ is simply more important in the European scene.
There's a couple of depths shading on in. I guess it's going to cancel shade here. There's too many Lings. Queens are in position as well. And Neeb knows about a third hatchery. So double Oracle coming down here and extra gateways going down. It's all looking pretty regular for Neeb.
Yeah. I think we went back to basics here in game 5. Now, I am curious to see if it's going to be a Phoenix after it, and if he makes that third Oracle again. I love the addition of that extra Oracle. These adepts are going to complete the shade this time. You can maybe get a creep tumor. Yes, indeed. You want to stay away from the Queens. Obviously, the Lings are not that scary because this Oracle can help out from above. Might get a cocoon there, right?
He gets one of the eggs, so stops the Overlord.
I mean, Elazer's probably like, really? Was that really worth all your energy?
Yeah, I mean, you have to use all the juice of that early Oracle to get rid of that 1 egg. And it's not drones, so Elazer's probably happy to see that.
Yep, it's a lot better than some of the other games, right? Where Elazer ended up losing 4 or 5 drones and then lost 2 more drones. And so far, it stays with 2 Oracles and a Phoenix. Elazer knows exactly what he's going up against. This is the first unit that Elazer is going to lose. You can see that his early game is just a lot cleaner than in those first 2 games of this best of 5.
Yeah, he's really solidified. It's the mark of a professional, really, to have to beat down and your opponent on match point and then come back and still maintain your level of play. It's really impressive.
A tiny bit too late here with those Lings. Would have loved to catch perhaps the probe that was in transit, right? The probe that is supposed to warp in that Nexus. That is very frustrating for a Protoss player, but Neeb was on top of things as well. Both players just opening up in a very sharp manner. Now, if you take out the rocks, this map isn't that big from base to base, but early game with all the rocks still being there, this is not a map where you make like a Hydra Ling attack or a very early Hydra Bane attack. The other queens are a little bit out of position. There is a Spore Crawler, but Neeb is still going to be able to get a couple of probe kills. Will the Phoenix live to tell the tale as well? Yes, he does. And with probe kills, I obviously mean drone kills.
So far, so good. The Ling's chasing those Adepts. Will they shade in? Cancels there.
That would have been a very risky shade without the backup of the Oracles and the Queens in a position there as well to help out to defend. That's not a phase in the game where you just want to give your Adepts away, especially not if you follow it up with Resonating Glaives. And now I wonder, are we going to see a straight up Prism this time from Neeb?
Yeah, or
I
just...
almost feel like he might go straight Prism.
Or even just straight into Immortal.
Yeah.
This Phoenix is quite low. Ooh, does get out of dodge.
I feel like on a large map like this, maybe you can squeeze in a Warp Prism before you start building Immortals. Ooh, those Lings are actually right on top of those probes, so that's going to be a little bit annoying. As Neeb shaded out with almost all of his Adepts, and now he's kind of turning around, wasting a lot of time. Neeb being a little bit indecisive there.
He's warping in some sentries.
I love how he went for the Observer. He's like, Prism or Immortal? Let me just go for an Observer.
Let's make the casters look dumb. Robotics Bay going down here, so a Colossus transition similar to Game 2 on Catalyst.
Neeb's gonna be careful though. I know these Adepts have Resonating Glaives, but I feel like Elazer's got a lot of units out already. I think Neeb is gonna let the shade finish up. He's gonna jump on top of the Queen.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. They can shade in a minute, but the Hydras are already here, and the Lings are doing so much DPS. All of these Adepts are gonna go down.
Yeah, a lot of drones did go down. 7, 1 Hydra goes down. Now this is actually kind of a nice shade because the other unit's still out of position. So instead of just getting 7 drones, he gets 11. Just imagine if one more Adept would have stand behind that middle line there. A lot of drones, 1 hit away from dying. I mean, decent economic damage, but does Neeb have enough to defend against the pressure of Elazer? That's obviously coming soon.
Yeah, Muscular Augments is done, and Elazer is getting off creep, trying to see what he can do on Neeb's side of the map. Neeb's powering through those Immortals, producing them one at a time here from the single robotics facility, and Elazer once again going for that lurk attack.
I think keeping these Oracles alive is going to be absolutely crucial for the American Protoss. You want to tag that army, you need to tag the lurkers as well, because every single fight, Elazer is going to bring an Overseer, and the first Observer he sees, it's going to get sniped. Like any Observer that's within range will get sniped immediately. So you need to have those Oracles alive as well to tag those lurkers. And Elazer obviously would love to pick one of them off before that, that little dance truly starts.
Oh man, Elazer with a cute little move there, trying to save the drone, turning into a distractor, but Neeb in the end catching him out.
This game, it's only a single robo though. This game, Neeb is going single robo. No, we already have Templar Archives. Now he's going to get that double robo, but that's still very different to what he did before.
Yeah, so the Colossus count not going to be as scary in the early stages.
No. The Immortal count is at 2, I believe, right? Number 3 is on the way. Yeah, so he has some damage to deal with Lurkers. He's got obviously sentries to deal with Hydras. Don't forget about Adepts. Adepts are always useful against Hydras if you don't have to worry about Banelings.
Looking down complete here, but Elazer is just powering on those Hydras, which still have a lot of fighting power, and there's only one Colossus. Neeb's going to break down these rocks.
I'm very confused about this. Why would you break down the rocks? I
that
feel
actually
like
helps the Zerg out of it.
Yeah, especially right now. Like Neeb, you're chilling on 3 bases. You're getting your 4th base. 5 Dropper Lords on the way, Maynard. There's a lot of open space in the main base. We've already seen some good old Hydras. Neeb might be able to spot all these Dropper Lords immediately. He could drop a couple of force fields as well. Yes, he does. But, I mean, he gets the hatchery instead. He gets out of there. He's going to recall. That means -2 sentries. I'd say, well, 1 sentry.
And getting the hatchery is nice, though.
Yeah, not bad at all. I mean, it was for free, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Recalls, I mean, losing a few sentries, so not completely free, but very, very good trade there for Neeb to get rid of that hatchery with his 4th Nexus back at home.
And he spotted all the Drop Lords.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, he has all the information he needs. Lurkers and Hydras letting up here. A Doom drop for Elazer. Once again, it's well spotted.
A couple of cannons being wiped in. Is that only at the 4th base or in the main base as well? Because I think Neeb really needs some cannons in the main too. Is that a single cannon there?
That's the one.
All right.
I don't know.
Meaning, he tags all the Dropper Lords though. I love how Elazer is channeling his inner nurture. A couple of Stalkers being wiped in. The Stalkers are getting right below those Dropper Lords and they're going to push them away. Well done there by Neeb.
He didn't kill them, but he did damage them and forced Elazer to think twice about this drop play.
Oh, this minute or 2 is going to be so exciting, Maynard. This is truly where games get decided. We saw Elazer pile on actually put on a crazy amount of pressure on Neeb at Neon Violet Square after a bad early game. I don't think this was that bad of an early game. Let's see how Neeb handles it this time.
And he's got a pretty scary army here. A lot of Immortals and Elazer trying to push two places at once, but Neeb has his army split up quite nicely here. Oh, that's a lot of Lurkers on the south. And the top is primarily Hydra's doing the damage. One of the Colossi is really helping out Neeb on the north end, but these Lurkers are doing tons of damage.
Good revelation as well. Good revelation on these Lurkers though. Neeb, excuse me, Elazer already tried to get the Observer. You see it lost real health, but Neeb realized that as well. He pulled it back, and Neeb is going to collapse on his army.
He does, and he has a lot of army supply left over as well. These Hydras not going to get the job done. There's too much here from Neeb. Is Elazer going to have to tap out here in game 5?
I don't think he's going to give up that quickly with Tournament Live on the line, but Elazer knows, well, he is going to give up actually, being down 50 supply.
GG and well played. The 3-time champ stays alive, but man, that was on a hair's breadth there. Could have easily been Elazer in the end.
Man, that move out when he took out the rocks right in the middle of the map, we're wondering, like, should he be doing this? Like, actually, maybe he can sit back. And he's like, nope. And then Neeb was like, no, I'm the veteran here. I know what I'm doing. He runs across the map, drops a couple force fields, doesn't only kill the hatchery, but he spots all the dropper lords as well. And that's obviously, that was just a massive victory. Then it all came down to defending, and I thought it was going to be quite tough. But, I mean, he knew exactly what he was doing. He was in all the right positions, dropped the revelations. Well done by the American Protoss.
Elazer feeling that loss here on stage in Leipzig. And Neeb about to get his interview with Anna Prosser on stage here. And let's cross over to Anna and Neeb on the stage.
Thanks so much, guys. Neeb, that was quite a marathon. How are you feeling?
I was quite tired going into this match, so honestly, like, I'm just even more exhausted.
You're exhausted, but you mentioned that you really wanted to play Elazer. Did this go as you expected?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be very close. Like, I didn't think the games would play out as they did, because these games were really weird. I thought it'd be much more normal and, like, still close, like 3-2 either way. Yeah.
In wanting to play him, was it to prove that you could come out on top, or why was it that you wanted to face him?
I'm not sure exactly. It's just, I just talk with him a lot, and, you know, we kind of have some banter and talk shit and stuff.
Well, you guys are the 2 champions from last year, so kind of facing off here is a really important thing. You've now advanced in the tournament, and you're going to face the winner of either Showtime or True. Do you have a preference?
I'd much rather play Showtime because I'm in True, because Showtime's just really hard. Like, he's insane in PvP. Like, he just always knows what to do, and he copies the Koreans, and the Koreans right now have the PvP meta pretty much figured out, so I think True is much more doable for me.
All right, well, congratulations again on moving forward. Can we expect, what would this be? Not a 3-peat, a 4-peat for you?
I'll try my best, but I can't promise anything.
Well, that's all we can ask, right, everyone? Thanks so much, congratulations, and back to you at the desk.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man himself, Neeb, moves on, eliminating Elazer as he clears his way to the semifinals. Thank you very much, Anna. We got to see quite a slugfest between these 2 champions of 2017, gentlemen.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, you know, with Neeb in that last game really taking the opportunity to do a big push at the right timing, just get on the hell out of there at the right time with the recall, and then just work on his composition, get ready to receive that tag on the Overlords. By the way, he saw the drop. I was like, okay, well, what's Elazer supposed to do from there? He went for the best thing that he could, a siege with Lurkers, but Neeb just too ready for this. And I'm sure they're gonna have some more banter and some more talks, as he said.
Yeah, I mean, like, what a series, right? I felt at first it was, like, all about Neeb. He was getting early game kills with the Oracles, so many drones going down, and I was like, Elazer, are you going to get into the series at all? And, well, yeah, he did.
I think he shaded something like 20 or 30 supply of adepts straight onto Elazer's Banelings in that second to last game there. Things definitely got a little bit dicey, to say the least, but Neeb does advance onward, and we get into this situation where perhaps he is looking to get himself into yet another final in the World Championship Series. He said he would rather play against True than Showtime.
Yeah, I'm not
gentlemen
surprised.
agree.
I'm not surprised, like, not to underestimate True or anything, but Showtime as of late has just been so good. Yeah, I don't think True would be an easy match, but in comparison with Showtime, I can definitely understand why we say that.
I think Neeb's just historically had really tough series against Showtime as well, right? Throughout WCS events and other tournaments as well. Showtime has put up a fight. They've pretty much always gone to 5 games, so I think I would rather play True too.
That is going to be the next matchup that we'll be showing you guys on the main stream. It is going to be Showtime going up against True, a Protoss versus Zerg to determine who faces off against Neeb for a spot at the Grand Finals tomorrow as we crown our first champion. We'll be getting to that match shortly. You're watching the World Championship Series Leipzig. We'll be right back with that series after this break.